All right, welcome back to Politically Homeless. My name is Dave, and I'm here with idea number one. You can be a common sense problem solver. Would you like to be a problem solver, or would you like to be a grifter on the extremes of the political spectrum? Because that's basically where we have been. It's where I've been. That's where I've always been looking for answers. And I think the answers are in a common sense agenda. This is the common sense agenda from No Labels. And I am definitely supportive of No Labels. And I am throwing in, especially after watching the debate last night. I like Governor DeSantis. I think he did a great job. But Donald Trump, unless the polls are so off that if the polls are this far off and say DeSantis or even Haley end up doing well, it's going to put the polling industry out of business. I will say that. But until I see evidence that the polls are completely wrong, I'm going to assume that Donald Trump is going to be the nominee for the Republican Party. And you've got two basement campaigns going on right now. You've got Biden, who's running for re-election supposedly, and he's running his basement campaign, and Trump, who refuses to hit the debate stage. I'd like to know what Donald Trump would do differently this time around. I'm not that concerned about retribution. All right. I'm more concerned about solving problems. So, this common sense book that I have is very good. You should order a copy. It's like a coffee table style thing. You can show your friends, or you can go to the commonsensemajority.org website and just look it up the new fashioned way, which is online, which isn't all that new fashioned. I just couldn't figure out what to say. Okay, so this is idea number one. People hate this. America can't solve its biggest problems. This is why nobody's going to be watching my channel, because I'm not putting out salacious content. I'm putting out what I know would actually work. So America can't solve its biggest problems and deliver the results hardworking taxpayers want, need, and deserve unless Democrats and Republicans start working together side by side on bipartisan solutions. Here are two reasons you should care about having leaders in Washington who believe Democrats and Republicans must work together for the good of the country. America has had divided government, with one major party controlling the White House and the other controlling at least one House of Congress for 29 out of the last 40 years. For almost 3/4 of that time, passing bipartisan legislation has been the only way to enact anything. The most significant and enduring legislative achievements of the 20th century occurred when members of both sides came together to achieve bipartisan success that benefited all Americans. There's no greater example than the enactment of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which depended on the leadership of civil rights leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., working alongside Democratic President Lyndon B. Johnson and Republican Senate Minority Leader Everett Dirksen. That's true. More recently, even amid Washington's dysfunctional and divisive climate, No Labels allies in the House and Senate helped lead the passage of consequential legislation that made historic investments in our infrastructure and in next generation technologies that we need to stay ahead of communist China. They almost rewrote the outdated Electoral Count Act that created so much uncertainty after the 2020 election and led to the horrors of January 6th. Now, I don't want to dwell on January 6th. I do think in hindsight, it was really stupid to have a rally on J6, but I've already come to that conclusion like 6 or 8 months ago. I just thought to myself, why do it? You're not going to change the outcome. Now think of the huge list of problems that our country faces heading into the 2024 election, including inflation, low economic growth, and spiraling debts. Do people out there care about those things? Oh, Donald Trump's going to fix it, Dave. Okie dokie. That is if he doesn't go to jail, and if the polls are right. If the polls are wrong, it's going to be a wake-up call for everybody. They go on here. See, No Labels cares about the things I care about. A broken immigration system, crime and gun violence, a generation of students struggling in the classroom, declining belief in the American dream. It's an American nightmare, Dave. Okay, well, how do you restore the American dream? There was no American dream. Okay. See, this is why nobody's going to be watching. And I don't care. I know my conscience is clean, and I am not waking up thinking I'm just grifting, finding a side that makes people all, hyperactive, and they'll donate to you if you agree with them or say all the craziest things, and you do it in a super creative way. The list goes on. The one thread that connects all of these challenges is that none will be solved unless or until enough members of both parties put country before party and work together to solve them. Now, is this like really difficult to understand? No. You may get a Republican majority, but you need Democrats a lot of times to pass things because, again, the Democrats walk in lockstep with their party. The Republicans are a bit more scatterbrained. So nothing ever gets done. I think the Republican majority now is like 2 or 3. You had Santos get expelled, and nothing's getting done. Like very little is getting done. And people say, well, we don't have money to spend on anything. They want to pass something right now that allows for better border security. Nobody wants that. I think everybody wants that. And yes, they tie it to war spending. Do I like that? Not really. But since the whole Israel thing started, my perspectives on this have radically shifted, and I've seen some alliances that are a little scary when you talk about Russia and Syria and Iran. I don't want to attack everybody, but you know what, folks? We can't be naive. We cannot be naive to the challenges that are out there. And I do think that we need to take care of America's infrastructure, which we did here apparently in this bill. But there's so much chaos following 2020, the CARES Act, and some really bad ideas that happened in the midst of that took away personal freedom. I, for one, would like to see all of those things rolled back. We need common sense. And this agenda, by the way, there are 30 topics, and I'm going to bring them all to you. This was the first one, and it's, again, simple. You're not going to solve problems unless you have some type of bipartisan support to fix these problems. And you have problem solvers in the Congress who typically get things done. I would like them to work toward getting our spending under control. I think that is really important. But as we move forward as a country, we can't just look to the extremes on either side. I'm a pragmatist at this point. I'm not going to get everything I want. There are even some things within No Labels that don't necessarily appeal to me, but I understand that if we're going to get anything at all out of this, we need to be able to work together, right? And I know that again doesn't appeal because it seems that everybody is so angry that they're willing to just throw in with crazy on either side to make themselves feel good. And that's all it is. It's tribal politics. And tribalism, I think, is what the problem is. I think Ross Perot, like over 30 years ago, was really on to something. And if he had stayed in that election, he may have been able to win it. And this is why I think if you get two politicians that aren't ego driven, they're not driven by narcissism, they're not driven by extremism on either side of the political spectrum, and they truly want to work for the American people. You hear a lot about populism. You know what populism is? Not just doing what's popular, but doing what's right for the American people. And yes, I'm more right of center politically. Do I worry that people on the left are going to pull those people on the right over to their side? I'm always worried that the extremes are going to hijack everything. But if you have good people who are decent human beings, who are raising families, who are trying to do what's right for the country. No Labels had a gentleman on from South Dakota yesterday. He's the only Congress person from South Dakota because they only have one congressional representative because they have a very low population. He made a lot of sense yesterday. I listened to him for about 30 minutes. I had an errand to run, but I really enjoyed what he had to say. We need to get back to America as it once was, where, yeah, you had differences between the two parties, but there wasn't like a constant stalemate. Right now, it just seems as though the country is sort of just in limbo as we wait to see, will Trump win this again? Will Biden make it to the end? Will Trump go to jail? And yeah, I understand the people that believe Trump is innocent of everything. They're very upset out there. But I'll tell you what, retribution is not going to fix roads and bridges or educate your kids. In the end, we've got to focus on what every family has to do. We have to balance our budget. We have to live within our means. We've got to find solutions to problems that we have. And we have to work together. And we have to stop being so tribal and partisan. I know this isn't glamorous. This isn't, super sexy stuff, is, talking about trying to fix problems. This is serious stuff. And there are people out here every single day who love this country still, who may disagree with one another, but who understand that we live here and we should try to make the best of it. If we don't, we're going to go down hard and we're going to lose what we have, or what's left of what we have. So anyway, from the great state of Florida, this is the book. You can get this on Amazon. You might be able to order it directly from No Labels. It's worth getting so you can, show people, hey, these are 30 great points here. And I think you're going to get agreement on over 25 of these. You're going to get like, yeah, that's what we should do. In my case, I only had a problem with one of them, and I understood why they took that position, and it was on abortion. The rest of them, I'm just like, yep, sign me up. And if we could do 29 of 30, if we could do these in a way where it actually changes the political dynamic, where you don't have the constant tribalism and negativity, I think people would feel so much better about their country. The middle of the country, not just ideologically, but those people who go to work every day and they just want like the trains to run on time. They want things to be normal. They don't want it to be in chaos. There are more of those people out there than the political extremes that seem to dominate the conversation all the time. So that's my point of view on problem solving. And the first No Label agenda item here, I'm going to post these hopefully on a regular basis. Again, this isn't glamorous. If you're watching, the best thing you can do is check out nolabels.org and support No Labels. Get involved with it. It's going to be Trump versus Biden again, most likely, unless something crazy happens. And we could be here, 8 months from now thinking, wow, we thought it was going to be Trump versus Biden, and Trump's in jail and Biden dropped out. That could happen. or it could be Trump's in jail, still running for president, people ready to vote for him so he can pardon himself and everybody around him, and Biden hanging on. So if he can get to the finish line, then he can hand the baton to Kamala Harris. Yeah. Folks, we can do better. I don't know what the unity ticket is going to be, but I can guarantee you it's going to be people who want to get things done. And that's better than what we have right now. All right. Thanks for watching. I appreciate those people that put up with this. I know there aren't too many of you left out there, but I'm hoping to grow the channel in light of the whole no labels agenda and the excitement around no labels. And there is. And there's even media coverage, which is amazing because typically third-party movements, they can't buy coverage because they're typically being told that, you're not welcome because we already have these two parties that dominate everything, and there's no way a third party can win. A third way can definitely do some damage in 2024. So let's hope that that actually happens, and I will see you soon.